Unbelievable ancient tombs. But first, thank you, Dominic Blair, for leaving us this comment. We asked you guys what president you thought should go on Mount Rushmore if we can add one more face. Seems like Barack Obama was a popular choice. Number 10. Tombs of Luoyang, China. In 2009, near the city of Luoyang in central China, archaeologists unveiled a 2,500-year-old tomb. This impressive gravesite contained many priceless artifacts from the past and a few things they couldn't believe. This horse burial pit contained several whole skeletons as well as chariots, as you see in this photo. Other relics discovered, like this copper bell, were believed to have been used for ceremonial purposes. The tomb was so deep that they needed to drain much of it with a hose to prevent water damage. This artifact here was an intricate ornament designed for the horses, and it gave clues to archaeologists to when the tombs were constructed. Horses weren't the only animals buried here. Cows and sheep skeletons were uncovered at this burial pit site as well. Due to the large amounts of objects found here, it's believed that it belonged to a nobleman or even a royal of the Luoyang kingdom. Number 9. Mayan Queen Tomb. In Guatemala, at the Nacum ruins located in northeastern Guatemala, archaeologists came across a startling discovery. It's here where they came across the skeleton of a Mayan queen with her head strangely placed between two bulls. This tomb was teeming with treasures from the past as well as a large amount of rodents. It's clear that this woman was indeed a queen, especially from priceless signet rings that were placed over the ruler 1,300 years ago. Number 8. Vampire Tombs. In the Middle Ages, the people of Eastern Europe feared the actual existence of vampires among them, so they took precautionary measures in order to prevent themselves of becoming victims of vampire attacks. A skeleton in Bulgaria was pinned to the ground with a metal stake through the heart. This ancient skeleton was identified as being 35 to 40 years old and was found near the town of Sovopol, not far from the Black Sea. This female vampire here was found during the 16th century and buried with a brick in her mouth, possibly because they feared her coming back to life. Number 7. Terracotta Army. Imagine bringing an entire army with you to the afterlife. The Terracotta Army is certainly a mystery of the ancient world. Over 8,000 clay soldiers, 136 chariots, 520 horses were discovered in 1974. This was found in the Shaanxi province, and the first two statues were found by a farmer. Each soldier is designed to be unique from the other one, and it took decades to design. The face of each soldier were made to be unique and different. Many of these figurines actually held weapons like spears, swords, and crossbows with the sole purpose of protecting the emperor during the afterlife. It must have been a remarkable sight to behold as soon as it was completed sometime during 210 BC. Number 6. Viking Boat. A Viking warlord was buried in his boat 1,000 years ago and was found fully maintained in the United Kingdom. With him were his weapons of war, like this sword and axe head. Judging by the large amount of treasure found in his tomb, archaeologists firmly believe that he was a successful Viking raider. Here in this photo, we see a sketch of how the Viking burial might have looked after the warrior had passed away. The fact he was buried like this all the way in England shows how powerful the Vikings were at this time and the influence they had in this land. Here we see Dr. Harris examining the sword in the original site of the tomb. One of the more fascinating finds was this tooth they came across. The boat he was buried in had decayed, and the only thing left was the 200 metal rivets that kept it in place. The fact that he was buried in the boat means he was a dedicated follower of Old Norse religion. Number 5. Amenhotep's tomb. American archaeologists were able to come across two stunning ancient Egyptian tombs rather recently in 2015. Believed to be the old tombs of Amenhotep and his wife Sa-mut, this was a big find for Egyptology. These were found in the ancient city of Luxor in southern Egypt. This dates back to the 18th dynasty, which is the most well-known dynasty during Egypt's thriving New Kingdom. Their kingdom stretched all the way from northern Sudan to Israel. Both tombs featured wonderful works of art. However, it was clear that it was ransacked and looted at some time. Some lucky criminal was able to snag the valuable sarcophagi located in these tombs, and also bejeweled mummies. This most likely happened during ancient times. Despite the looting, the tomb remains in excellent condition. Number 4. Tomb of a Celtic prince. A massive grave was unearthed in the Champagne region in France, near a small town. This happened in 2015, and it's believed that it once belonged to a Celtic prince during the Iron Age, 2,500 years ago. It was jam-packed full of Greek and priceless Celtic artifacts. The skeleton was wearing a solid gold torque and a bracelet. The 130-foot burial mound has remained completely unopened at this time, so archaeologists knew they were going to find some truly remarkable items here. This is where he was buried, in the center of this huge mound, along with his chariot and dozens of priceless artifacts. Also, there was a ceramic wine vessel that came from Greece. Archaeologists also came across an iron wheel that was used as his chariot. He certainly was planning on having a good time in the afterlife. Number 3. Aztec Temple Tomb. Archaeologists unearthed an extremely mysterious tomb that contained the bones of 15 people, as well as animals. Researchers believe the grave held some ceremonial purpose, and that the people were sacrificed to the sun god. They were asked to excavate the site in Mexico City before buildings were set to be built. This certainly came as a surprise, and if they hadn't discovered it, a building would be placed on top of this ancient burial site. This is believed to be about 700 years old, and made a few centuries before the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. This mysterious death mask was one of the few items that were dug up at this location. Number 2. Newgrange. The Newgrange burial site in Newgrange, Ireland is found in the county of Meath and is one of the oldest tombs ever built. This was made before the pyramids, before Stonehenge, and is at least 5,000 years old. The Newgrange monument is mainly a large mound that was built with alternating soil and rocks with grass on the top. The tomb entrance stretches 60 feet, or only 1/3 of the mound. It still remains unclear exactly what the deceased were laid on to rest at this location. Within the tomb, people often notice the Paleolithic artwork characterized by spirals and other symbols. And number 1, Russian Princess Tomb. This remarkable discovery changed everything we thought and knew about the people who inhabited Siberia. This tomb was discovered in 1993, and archaeologists believed it would look something similar to this photo. What was really the primary focus of the discovery was the mummy itself. Due to the frozen permafrost soil, her body was able to stay well preserved throughout the ages. Her team of scientists found that the ice maiden had tattoos. Turns out, people have been getting ink 2,500 years ago. Here's what the tattoo looked like, and it appears to be quite intricate, designed using mythical creatures. That's not all they found. She was buried with 6 horses, as well as many treasures. Researchers also found clothing, a headdress, a makeup bag, and even a stash of cannabis. Other ornaments were made of bronze and gold. Many believe that her resting place shouldn't have been disturbed, and they thought it should be left alone. At what point does archaeology become grave robbing?